Let me know when you see.
Perfect. Andy, looks like we are live once again. So, good afternoon, or should I say good? Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this weekly update, July 13th, 2021. My name is Andre Rainey. I am the proud mayor of the great city of Peekskill, New York, and I'm joined by our wonderful city manager, Mr. Andy Stewart. Good afternoon, Andy. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mayor. It's great to be with you today.
Always, likewise, always is. So, thank you all for tuning in. I want to also say thank you to everyone out there who's taking time to watch these videos, also to share them with the community as we try to keep everyone updated on COVID and what we're doing in the city of Peekskill and how we're managing and maintaining, as well as try to add a few information ideas that we think may be important or even just something that the people in the community should know. But the idea of this is to keep you updated on COVID and where we are, and hopefully in the near future, COVID would be a past conversation, and we'll still be able to update you weekly on some great happenings in the city of Peekskill. First thing we're going to discuss, as always, is numbers of COVID, vaccines, and where we are.
So, Mayor, just so you know, this data comes off the Westchester County COVID dashboard. There are two of them. There's one for active cases, and there's one for vaccinations. And the active cases are down in the single digits for us, which is great, down around 4. Our vaccination rate's coming up, which is great. We're in the low 60s now for people who have gotten one vaccine. So very pleased to see those numbers kind of moving in the right direction. Yeah, active cases actually 7 as of a week or so ago, and our vaccination rate 64.5 has really come up substantially over the last couple of months, which is great to see. We're not the winner of the race in the county, and we're certainly not in last place either. And I want to give some credit to the county. The county has been running a pop-up vaccination site over at the high school. Yeah. And I don't know how many people they got in there, but they certainly have been providing a service. We've been trying to connect them with other sites, such as Assumption Church, for example, where there might be a lot of people who would benefit from that service. So, and I know that the HRH or Sun River has been doing vaccinations. And even when we had the Pride family event a couple of weeks ago in Pugsley Park, they set up with a little vaccination table. I think maybe a couple of people got vaccinated that day, which is good to see.
Yeah. They're definitely getting the word out, and people are definitely participating. And we encourage people out there who are interested. Please do your research. Look up. There's a lot of information out there, but I think the CDC guidelines are probably the most accurate information that you'll probably find on the actual vaccines, how they work, where you can get it, when you should do it, and what to expect, and what symptoms to look out for. So thank you so much to the city of Peekskill, to the residents who actually been taking time out to follow safety protocol, to all of you who are still social distancing, to all of you who are still carrying your sanitizer. We appreciate you. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily mandated to wear their mask anymore, but the fact that you're still keeping your hands and body clean is valuable to everyone in our community. So thank you. So I want to congratulate. Do we have anything else on that, Andy? So I'd like to.
No, on the vaccination, I think we covered that, Mayor. Thanks.
Okay, absolutely. So I want to congratulate the Peekskill City School District again. As many of you may or may not know, July 7th of last Wednesday, they did the grand opening for the public of Torpy Field. So for those of you who've been able to take a look at the field, it's a beautiful turf field. They just finished putting the lines on the actual track, so the public can actually use the track now, walk and run, jog with your family and friends, and on a beautiful field. They had the high school graduation there, and that was the first time we stepped foot on that field, and it is amazing what they've done to that field. So go check it out, stop by, take a walk, wake up early, go take a walk or a jog with your family and friends and enjoy it.
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, just as a reminder, our own running track over at Depew Park is to be upgraded in the coming year as well.
Yes.
It's really exciting that the city council approved acceptance of $1 million grant last night. We'll do a resolution on Monday coming up, but essentially the paperwork related to that money coming from Sandy Galiff through the state and facilities funding. It's just extraordinary the kind of upgrades we'll be able to do to that field to make it much more playable for more space. You know, the running track, pickleball courts. Everybody's excited. What is this thing called pickleball? You know, apparently it's the fastest growing sport around, and making those tennis courts, kind of upgrading them so people can play pickleball on them. Small pitch sort of soccer facilities, better basketball court. Even putting in a little mini pitch soccer facility down on Washington, where the old firehouse is. There's a lawn area there that's slated for a playing surface with a fence around it. little goals and stuff. So really some great, exciting projects taking off for our parks and facilities.
Absolutely.
Well,
And I
I
do.
mean, I don't think there's anything we can do that will compare with Torpy Field. I mean, that place is basically the flagship as far as a beautiful turf field. But
Absolutely.
certainly the
And you
city's.
know what? Yeah. And there's two things I want to say to that too. One is thanks to Councilman Fernandez because it was his idea, or he initiated the push to reach out to Sandy Galiff for the council, and that was an amazing idea. He, it took a little while, but he was very persistent, and we were
Mhm.
fortunate enough to secure the funding, and also to the community. A lot of people had to actually vote on funding the actual field and participating and advocating for it. So Dr. Mauricio and the school board has done a phenomenal job. And I also do want to add that the parents in the community, the residents who actually took time out of their evenings to come to these school board meetings to actually advocate and support the Torpy Field, that we owe that to you as well. So it belongs to this entire community, but we definitely owe it to those who fought or advocated to make it happen.
Mhm. Yeah, I just want to mention while we're talking about parks improvements, just a couple of the items, Mayor.
Yep.
Last night, if you wanted to get into the weeds on city stuff, there was an item related to grant work we're doing that will hopefully fund an extension of the waterfront trail system on the riverfront, where right now, as you go kind of north from the sort of the boat access area towards the volleyball courts, there's no pathway there. And so there's a beautiful design in place. We got a grant to do the design work, and now the planning department is moving forward with a grant submission to try to pay for the development of that trail. It's really a really neat design. The trail would give access to the waterfront, improve that beach area with some nicer sand and some seating areas and stuff like that. Kind of wrap around over by the volleyball courts with some really exceptional new walking facilities to kind of complete that trail system. So these are the kinds of larger improvements that we're looking to make. At the same time, smaller things like just last night, the city council is looking at having a bit of a policy. So when someone wants to just put a memorial plaque on a bench, if you have a loved one who passed away who had a particular spot they love to sit in the park, working on a little program so that people can make a donation to the park system and have their loved one's name on a bench. Whether it's an existing bench or we're able to locate a new bench. The city council asked us to go out and inventory locations for new benches and existing benches to give them a sense of how many opportunities like this exist just for the benches. At the same time, there's places where we could use more trees, and we have a sort of planning process for tree planting, which is also an opportunity for families who might want to have a commemorative plaque and help to fund tree planting in the park.
Yeah.
So look for more information about that at upcoming meetings.
Right, absolutely. And just some other good news in that area. There's a mural reveal at 6 o'clock on Thursday the 15th at 150 Water Street. I know Wilfredo Morel and Arts 10566. Many of you know Arts 10566 is a phenomenal program curated by Wilfredo Morel. It was actually, I don't know if you know this, Andy, but it began at the Kylie Youth Center. It was actually
Huh,
called Kylie Arts 10566 when it first started,
huh.
but it expanded to the school district and it expanded everywhere else. And they took the Kylie part off. It was actually started out as Kylie 105 Arts 10566. Yeah. But they're hosting a mural reveal event on July 15th, Thursday evening at 6 p.m. at 150 Water Street, a community mural that they put together. I'm excited, looking forward to driving by and seeing it myself. So if any of you are out there, if you're willing or able to support, please come by and take a look at it. And if you aren't, you can always check out Arts 10566. You can Google them, or I believe they have a website or a Facebook page. I can't remember which one I follow, but you can Google Arts 10566, Arts 10566 to get more information on how you can support the organization in different ways.
Yeah, it's a very colorful mural. I was looking at the photo of it that Wilfredo sent me the day before
Yeah.
yesterday. It's really an exciting project. Just on that, there's a lot of public art in the city of Peekskill, and we're doing a little bit of an inventory right now with the Business Improvement District. We have a photographer, Joseph Squilanti, who's taking nice pictures of them. And there's some really great stuff out there. There's a banner hanging off James Street Garage. There's a big mural on the side of the Youth Bureau. I'm sure you can think of a number of different locations where there's public art, big and small. And as we think about ways of helping people enjoy the city, we want to put together a little map of those public art sites and make it easy for people to find them if they're unfamiliar with the locations.
Absolutely. And thanks to all of the artists in the community, to the photographers. I know a lot of people are familiar with a lot of the photographers in the city, especially like photographers like Ocean Marset, who, John Ritter, who come out and just take photos of all of the events and activities. There was a visual held for Leone Santos Escobar this past week down on Division Street for the Escobar family for their loss. And it was, it's just phenomenal to see the support. The school district opened the middle school, and there was lines of people outside of the middle school to show support to that family. And that's, this community really, really comes together, during times of need and when it's necessary. And, my sincere condolences go out to the Escobar family. I know tonight is the actual service, so a lot of people are going to be there to support. But I really appreciate the way this community comes together and when it's time.
Yep, very tragic. So sorry about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, some more news. I know that we mentioned some city initiatives happening tonight at, I'm sorry, is it tonight? Yeah, tonight at 6 p.m. The Human Relations Commission are going to host their meeting at 6 p.m. Based on the discussion, based on more movement on the police task reform initiatives and recommendations that the community had put together a few weeks back. As many of you know, the Human Relations Commission has been, working their behinds off behind the scenes, not as active on social media as other local boards and commissions are, but they're extremely active behind the scenes doing a lot of work. And I'm looking forward to this discussion. I encourage and invite community members to join the meeting or at least tune in and watch it once it's done so you can know exactly what we're doing, what recommendations that we like to push forward, what the community wants to see for our local police department and our community in the near future. So again, there were about 51 recommendations, I believe. There's
Yep.
about 20 to 25 of them that are already being in the process of being implemented, and the others are, of course, some of them are state initiatives that would take more than just city push, but support letters from the city and more. So, but the conversations is still going.
Just to give you a little preview of tonight's discussion, one of the items, there's a lot of these things, there's a lot of them, but they're not all really hard. Some of them are complicated and hard, and some of them aren't so much. But the police department has actually created a registry. If somebody in your family has mental health issues or behavioral issues where you'd be worried if the police came to your door that the person might not know how to handle that appropriately, you can actually register your address and that person's name with the police department now. They've got an online form so that it alerts the police department if they're going to home, even if someone's deaf or has some kind of behavioral disorder that they should know about. That information you can voluntarily provide to the police department. It would be available to the dispatchers anytime that address comes up. It's just an example, whether it could be an elderly person who has memory issues, whatever it is. The idea is to have that registry there so that the police have just a little more information so they can take care of people and kind of know what they're walking into.
That's amazing.
Emergency call from a household. So that's just an example. It's one of many things that the task force recommended that we're moving forward with. And there's also, just so there's also there's discussion about a community complaint review board, which is a much more complex policy, requires city council to adopt a local law, to look at different models for that, and kind of go through a much more extensive policy discussion. So some things are complex, some things are relatively easy, some things just take a lot of work. We know how to do them. Some things really require another jurisdiction to take action. For example, some of the mental health services and crisis intervention we're looking at really involves cooperation and partnership with various agencies. And so those relationships are being built as well.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's been, again, I thank and encourage the board members that were on the actual task force and the community members that actually spoke out or advocated for certain things and recommendations during this process. I do want to remind people that as much as work is being done, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And, hopefully don't ever be discouraged if something doesn't happen as fast as you expect it to happen, as fast as you want it to happen. There's a lot of different processes that we have to go through in anything, not just in government and law and policy, but in anything. There's always steps you have to take in order to get something done. The best example I can give is you can learn how to drive a car and not have a license, and you still have to take the test. You still have to go through the process of learning of proving that you can park. Like there's always a process to everything. So, and something as vital and important as this is, the process may be extensive because it's a lot of work that needs to be done, improvements that need to be made, changes that may need to be, if not already implemented, at least made aware to the community. Because fortunately, Chief Homie has made a lot of changes in the department prior to, the national um, initiative of what created this actual task force. So I do thank him for his work in the police department as well, for their work and commitment to our community. So, but again, we encourage you to come out. If you can't make it this month, watch the meeting when it's over. It'll be on our social media, or it'll be on our city website. It's on the government channel sometimes as well, but check out the city website for their updates, and we'll keep the community posted.
Just another item that came up last night. The city council asked us to move forward drafting a change to local law that would prohibit smoking in parks because of the secondhand smoke hazard to kids and the general sort of push for healthy environments outdoors. That policy issue was also discussed, and it will come up for a public hearing in the next month or so.
Gotcha.
I know that you were thinking about that, Mayor, so that got discussed last night as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a good meeting last night. You guys did very well. I was watching. I couldn't, unfortunately, I couldn't do it.
Got a lot done.
Yeah.
Along with, it'll come out next week, a couple of folks getting reappointed to boards and commissions. We really appreciate the volunteers who serve on the zoning board, the youth board, the parks committee, and all the conservation advisory group, and all these really important, the volunteers, recognizing them and reappointing people who are doing a good job as part of the council's work.
Absolutely. So I don't have anything else on my list today. I know we've been talking for a little while. If you want to share anything else, please do. And also let me know if there's any comments that we can respond to, address, or just answer the question.
Well, let's see here. I'm gonna take a look at some of the comments on Facebook. Maybe you should as well.
I don't have my computer with me, so
okay.
I can't always see the stuff.
Right.
Let me see if I can do it from my phone, though. I'll definitely check it out. All right, sit here. There we go. Let me turn this down.
Let's see.
All right.
Well, I just to address the thing is we have somebody talking about the use of grant money for sports facilities versus water and sewer system. The different kinds of capital projects are funded in different ways, and the SAM grant was money we could get for sports that the assemblywoman supported. On the other hand, the grants that we go after for water and sewer basically come through state agencies like the DEC, and typically they provide a portion that's grant and a portion that's very, very low interest financing. So we have a strategy for investing in the water system as well. And people have noticed obviously that we have water line breaks pretty frequently in the city of Peekskill, and our guys do a great job chasing those down. There was just one down on Water Street, ironically enough, kind of right on the corner of Hudson, where on Friday night they were down there. They had to close the street, and they had to follow. And then literally the valve that controls that is like from the 1930s. So of course they dig it up and try to sort it out, and the whole mechanism is malfunctioning, and we have a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah.
Last night, I just want to mention the city council gave us the green light to move forward with grant applications for our sewer and water system. So the writer's absolutely right. It's a very important thing to fund. Doesn't happen overnight, but these are things that we're working on behind the scenes, and hopefully we'll have some success with those grant applications.
Okay, great. And I know that I know that the water department was working towards getting a digital system where they can check pipes underground with some sort of underground camera or something like that. I think.
Yeah, they actually do it using audio. They can hear if the water is leaking out or in a way that it shouldn't be. So I mean, there's comments here basically about all the different kinds of infrastructure issues that need to be fixed. And
yeah, I'm looking at
one thing. If we're talking about putting somebody's parent's name on a bench in the park, that doesn't mean we're not chasing down every possible avenue of funding for big projects as well. We do both.
I mean, most people that understand government understand that. So that's just an educational opportunity for us to share with people. But yeah, so I mean, you know, with all of the issues that the city may face, unfortunately, you can't just see an issue and turn it over tomorrow, especially if it's a $300 issue. But the fact that we're looking towards doing it and finding ways to do it, I think is a great step forward.
Um, I don't know, there's some people kind of complaining, there's some negativity here. Mentioning trees, we have a lot of empty tree pits around the downtown area. If you go up towards Monument Park, there's a bunch of empty tree pits where trees were removed 5, 6 years ago. The stumps are still there. That's a priority too, to try to make that street shadier. You get some new trees in there and make it more pretty as a main access point to the city. So I think
Right.
these kinds of projects have a lot of value. We're moving forward with that as well.
All right. Is there
Yeah.
any other ones?
It's hard to track. There's so many people writing right now.
I only see two. Is there a lot more that I'm
Yeah, this is
missing?
basically Mr. Landers going back and forth with other people.
Okay. All right. I only see two people going back and forth. So
It's a little hard to track this.
right.
Well,
So they're not asking any
I feel
questions.
bad for
So
people who are writing in with substantive questions. It's a little hard to filter them out from everything else.
okay, I don't see any questions in there. So well, listen. To the people who are watching, thank you sincerely. And to the people who, if your question is up there and we missed it, just, you know, you can feel free to email us. You can email me at Rainey@cityofpeekskill.com, or our city manager, Stewart at cityofpeekskill.com, and we'll try to get to your question. Unfortunately, we can't get to all the questions because we can't actually see. And I don't see any questions. I just see a couple people going back and forth. But thank you all for tuning in. Any closing remarks for the season? I'll let you close it off today, because I always do it.
Take care, Mayor. Have a great week. We'll talk soon.
All right, next week, same place, same time.
All right, bye-bye now.